a very safe and happy holiday season.
The transaction that we are doing, it's a controlled depreciation right now. That means our dollar is basically buying more and more. Now, what we're doing is, give an idea, say for instance you put $10,000.
We're talking U.S. dollars
I'm
or
talking
Canadian?
U.S. dollars right now. Say you take $10,000 and you deposit in a certificate, time deposit certificate in the bank, say for 89 days. Then the bank guarantees you a 50, in this case right now it's 54% interest on your money. They pay you the checks every month. If you don't use the checks, it goes compounding on you again, so it gives you a higher interest rate again. But at that rate, we are receiving an income, a monthly income of approximately $500, the equivalent of $500 per month. Now, it takes us only about $250 a month to live. So this is our way of controlling it.
One of the interesting things that, and you please correct me if I'm making an assumption here, but because of our experiences with Cuba last year, I think there's a parallel. And that is the need for certain countries to have hard currency. Why that interest rate is so high? Because they need those U.S. dollars in order to be able to buy in the world markets?
I suppose so.
Yeah.
At the same time, if at the end of my time deposit certificate I elect to take the money out, I can do so at the rate of $500 U.S. dollars per day. So my money is not really locked in. So it makes it very safe for us. And again, we watch the Chicago's futures market on the Mexican peso very carefully before we reinvest again for another 89 days on these certificates. These are some of the tricks that we describe in our book.
Absolutely, that's the investment side of it. So therefore, if you see that the market or changing on you, then you're in a position to request a higher interest rate from the bank if you elect to leave your deposit with them.
Yeah, or you take your money out and wait and do something else with it. So you're never really locked into it.
What sort of retirement income do you think most people in Canada could be looking towards in the next 10 years?
Oh, I would say anybody that has a retirement income of $250 or better a month can live there very, very comfortably. For instance, take $5,000, deposit down there, that will pay you $250 a month. And you can live very, very comfortably on it. As a matter of fact, the way we live, we tell you in our book, we have a very detailed description how you buy property down there, how you do the banking down there, how we live in our paradise, what the social activities are. We have, for instance, in our area, we have 3 golf courses, we have 3 yacht clubs, we have numerous country clubs that we belong to. So we have all the amenities that we are used to here, except they are so much lower for us in cost to enjoy it. For instance, in Toronto, I couldn't afford a maid and a gardener.
No.
Down there, we have a maid in the garden that takes care of our properties.
Now, what about family? Have you taken family down with you?
Oh, yes, my family comes down there quite frequently.
They come down to visit you?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And again, we are enjoying the climate down there. This is basically the great thing for us. I myself, I have arthritis, and we have the mineral spas, and you go in these hot pools, and it is just a delight to go there and just relax and have your martinis by the big pools, enjoying the beautiful sunset over the lake. So it's just a delightful time to be there. A country club membership, for instance, runs us $84 a year. And this gives you tennis, golf, squash courts, you name it, swimming pools, you name it, they got it all.
Don't you think that if the Mexican government starts to see so many people coming down to this paradise, that it would start to say, gosh, you know, we've got maybe a money-making situation here, we should somehow put a tax on people that are coming down and wanting to live here?
Now, this is, what we are describing here, we're describing it for the first time, but it's nothing new. This has been going on for about 25, 30 years. Americans and Canadians and Europeans have been living there permanently all that time. And again, it does not adapt itself to a, say, Acapulco or Puerto Vallarta or Mazatlan or Cancun situation. It's very bohemian. We live in these clustered villages, cobblestone streets, for instance, walls along the houses there. You cannot see the homes unless you go into these gates.
So it's not really the luxury life that perhaps people take for granted here.
No, it's a different life.
It's a different life.
Yeah. However, if you want to enjoy...
Less stressful, maybe.
Oh, very much so, because we unloaded all the pressures that were hounding us while we were doing business here. Down there, the pressures off your back, and you feel a much more relaxed life. At the same time, if you do want to go into very luxurious properties, you go into some of the country club areas that are in our villages where the Americans live, And there you can buy a piece of property from $50,000 to $300,000. The sky's the limit in there.
So there are the extremes
Very
of
much so, yeah.
situation. We're going to take another short break, and then when I come back, I want to find out a little bit about how people can get a hold of the book, because I know it's not available in bookstores.
No, that's true.
And how they can learn to live in paradise on $250 a day. That's U.S. dollars, but I think a month. I'm sorry, I think it's going down. Anyway, come back with us. Yes, a month, a day. Back with my guest, Gerard Galeas, with The Greatest Escape. And one of the fun things, while we were in the commercial break there, everybody wanted to know, hey, there's got to be a catch. There must be something that's not quite right here. Can I go? And that's the studio crew. And I must say myself, too, Gerard, I felt the same way a little bit, that it almost sounds too good to be true. I would suspect, though, that you've practically got to be close to retirement to know that you've got a regular pension coming in, because you might have some problems as far as working would be concerned.
Yes, unless you're born with a silver spoon. That's very true. Now, you have to have an income from someplace to support yourself down there. And this is basically an ideal situation for anybody that is looking for retirement, or is looking for a sunspot, or is just looking for a easier, comfortable way to live. And especially with the high costs in vacations right now, this is really ideal.
So somebody that has got a pretty good income or wants to escape for so many months of the year, then also it could be very good for them as well.
Yeah, I say come on down, see it for yourself.
Yes.
Like there are many Downton Thomases around, and we have now had so many requests of people asking us about information on this place. Is it real? Is it so? Can it be done? We have now decided to take tours down there.
Is that right?
And we take people down there for 2 weeks on a conducted tour. We show them our paradise, how we live, what this area is all about, and let them convince themselves that this is actually so.
Do you need any special visas or passport?
Now, if you're a Canadian citizen or American citizen, you have no problem. Either a birth certificate or a valid passport will suffice.
And how often would you have to have your visas renewed?
You don't need a visa at all.
No.
No, the Mexican government supplies with tourist cards, and you just fill a tourist card out, and this is about all that's necessary to enjoy our paradise, at least.
So I can come down and live there and have a tourist card, so I'm not really given any status because I own land or anything like that.
Oh, no, not at all, not at all, no. Now, the way we live down there, we live on a 6-month permit, and every 6 months we have to leave the country and come back again for another 6 months. That's how it works.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Any problems at all do you foresee as far as politics or anything like that is concerned, where all of a sudden a new regime might step in and say, right, we're going to take over all this property or take over all these dwellings?
I rather doubt it, because even though the Mexican history has been rather turbulent history throughout the years, however, with us as North Americans living there, we are contributing to the local economy. We bring hard currencies into the country, so I rather doubt that they're going to bite the hand that feeds you, so
And
to
you're
speak.
nice and quiet people.
Oh, yes, we mind our own business.
That's right. One of the things in the book here is your actual monthly basic budget as of July 1982. And most of the people seem to own their own condominiums outright.
yes,
That's one of the
right.
benefits of going down, purchasing it. But then you're looking at a maintenance fee, $35 a month. I can relate to some of the condominiums in Toronto. I think they're in excess of $200 maintenance a month. Utilities, bottled water, phone, gas, electricity, $15 per month. Food, $189 per month. That seems to be the largest expense.
That's right. And that even includes a lot of entertaining, too. Because when we say $250 a month, that includes our car insurance, our taxes, our maintenance fees, our club membership, our gasoline, anything that pertains to the cost of living. And that's all included in $250 a month. But since we written the book, there was another devaluation, so we can right now do it for approximately $180 a month, what used to be $250. Even that sounds unbelievable.
What's the cost of flying down to Mexico to take a look at this paradise?
Well, if you go with us, it runs you approximately between $800 to $900 for 2 weeks on a conducted tour, and that includes your accommodation, your parties, your receptions, your touring, your air flight, anything.
Does it include food?
Most of it, yes, it does. Food is one of the very, very minor items, really.
Yeah.
Because the average breakfast will run you about 85 cents, $1, $1.25. Your luncheon about $1.60. So it's very inexpensive.
Now, realistically, I mean, it's paradise, the climate, everything is wonderful, and I assume that you can swim in this lake and enjoy it in so
All
many
kinds of
different
water
ways.
sports.
Right. Is there anything, though, that you can look at and say, all right, maybe some people wouldn't quite like this aspect? Was there anything in the time that you've been there that has just slightly hit you and has been the one little negative?
Not as yet. So we haven't found it as yet. The Mexican people, even living in their environment, are extremely courteous people, very, very friendly, loving people. We associate with them. Even my Spanish is very, very limited, and we don't really have to speak Spanish, because in our own area there are approximately 3,000 North Americans and Canadians and Americans living there. So you get away without speaking the language. And
have you any desire, though, to learn the language, to be able to travel more, perhaps, in Mexico?
I have traveled in Mexico, and I like my area best.
Look, it's made me think of mosquitoes. What sort of bugs and pests do you have down there?
Well, again, at this elevation, we don't have the mosquitoes and all the other critters that you normally have. Being a tropical area, of course, you have some roaches perhaps around there, but again, they're under control. You have no problem. Even most people say Mexico, well, you always run into water problems. Even that is not a problem with us, because we use the tap water for cooking and for brushing our teeth. And for drinking water, we use spring water. And a 5-gallon jug of spring water is only 20 cents.
And being where you are in the mountainous area, I assume that the spring water is very accessible.
Of course,
yes.
yeah, very accessible. And they deliver it to the house for 20 cents, so who can beat that price, really?
Any chance of getting bored?
It's what you make of it, really. It's a very active social life that we have, because we have so many country clubs, we have so many theater groups, symphony societies, opera societies in there, craft groups. We have the Kiwanis there, we have the Lions Club there, we have the Daughters of the Revolution. All the American clubs are there. So it's basically what you make of it,
One
really.
last question. Any difficulty in obtaining things that we would take for granted? Paper napkins, toilet paper, things of that nature. Any difficulty in getting things like that there?
No, anybody comes down to visit us, bring Crisco.
Great for Crisco. Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much indeed, Gerard. We have flashed up the address if people want to write and get a copy of the book. As I say, it's not available in bookstores. So we put up the address for you, and if you want to, drop them a line, and if you missed it, give us a call at 593-4747. We'll be pleased to tell you how to go and live in paradise, $250 a month. Anne Martin, Positively Speaking.
Portions of Positively Speaking have been made possible by the Dairy Bureau of Canada, Dow Chemical Canada Incorporated, Imperial Life Assurance Company of Canada, Nob Hill Farms, Max Convenience Stores, Norwich Union Life Insurance Society.
Ever wish you could stop it all? Trade it in for paradise? Just pack your bags and change your lifestyle completely? Well, you can do it, and for a surprisingly small amount of money. It's a truly charming place with a perfect climate all year round, and it just might be what you're looking for.
My blood pressure was going right through the top of my head from working, 7 days a week, 12 hours a day for years. And it was a case of either let go a bit and live, or I suppose kick the bucket. So I decided to junk it all and come down here.
Well, to begin with, as I call, the monkey is off your back, the pressures are off your back. It's a more enjoyable life.
About 30 miles south of Guadalajara, Mexico is a truly enchanting place, 5,000 feet up in the mountains on a calm and shimmering lake called Chapala. Tom McLaughlin and Gerard Galius, two Toronto businessmen, had always dreamed of a paradise where they could slow down and appreciate life. And they did. They packed their bags and bought homes with splendid tropical gardens in a tiny ancient cobblestone village called Ajijic. They live next to Americans and Canadians, as well as the Mexicans. And while they enjoy modern living in their new homes, the native women still wash their clothes in the lake nearby, as they have for centuries.
All I see here is beauty. Beautiful people, beautiful scenery. That's what I found here. Absolute paradise as far as I'm concerned. Look at today. It's been like this for, I guess, nearly 2 months. Blue sky, a few clouds floating around, a gentle breeze. It never gets hot, and it never gets cold.
Simply stated, Lake Chapala is beautiful, surrounded by mountains as well as tiny ancient villages. The weather here is perfect all year long. 80s during the afternoon, sometimes into the 90s during the month of May. And in the evening, a cool tropical breeze, so air conditioning's not even necessary. And as far as real estate goes, the U.S. dollar is so strong at the moment, an acre of land can actually go for $1. And a home that you would never consider in the States or in Canada can become amazingly affordable. Now, right here in this area, you can buy a fully furnished 2-bedroom condo for as little as $23,000. Of course, if you prefer, you could always rent a beautiful 4-bedroom home for less than $100 a month. Living expenses are pretty darn cheap, too. In a given month, everything from property taxes, utilities, gardeners, and maids to food, entertainment, and running a car come to a little over $400 a month for two to live better than they probably ever have. Now, in keeping with the theme of relaxing and enjoying life, something most of us like to do, you just take $12,000 and put it into a Mexican bank in what's called term deposits, which earn up to 50% interest. Now, that works out roughly to $500 a month. And as you just saw, that's more than enough to be comfortable in paradise. And if you think the scenery is beautiful, so are the dancers. And the people who have made the great escape, as they call it, are having the time of their lives.
We dance 9 nights a week sometimes. Really, it's a fantastic place. Now that's how to stay young.
I just fell in love with the place when I first saw it, and I thought, hey, this is for me. I could live here, I could be very happy here, and I am. I've never been happier.
I bought a one-way ticket, came down here 3.5 months ago, and here I am.
Oh, it makes me feel fantastic. I love it. I absolutely love it.
One thing it has certainly done is it has made me appreciate life more. After all, I'm past my mid-50s, and I want to be here when I'm past my mid-90s, if I can. And I can't think of any other place in the world where I'd have more chance.
It sounds real good, Tom, but are you telling me that anybody who would want to can come down here and find themselves living in paradise this way?
There's no question about it. Absolutely. It's not only possible, it's easy.
Anybody can do it. Well, sure, that's very true. But again, it takes guts to do it. We all dream about it, we talk about it, but this is normally where it ends.
Actually, this is where it's all begun for a good number of people who had finally had enough and wanted to live the rest of their lives on their own terms, at their own pace, and in a place that simply makes you feel like $1 million every day.
What can I say? It's just, it's paradise. I mean, it really is paradise.
As you saw, we weren't kidding. It looks pretty good down there. What do you think, Suze? Could you make the move?
Well, let's see. A couple weeks ago, we were on a Learjet. Now, if we got that and we got an office down there, we'd be in Fat City.
I'm all for that. And if you're all for that, you think you could make that kind of a move? Well, they've written a real informative book, Tom and Gerard, and we have all the information on where you can get it. Just give us a call at PM.
We're coming back from Future World, and we're going to show you how the other half shops.
Travel for tonight's program was furnished in part by Empire Airlines. Jet Empire to New York City, Boston, Washington, and Montreal. Call your travel agent or Empire Airlines for details.
Bob Johnson. Bob Johnson was the last